All right, well,
Good evening. Welcome to the December 6th, 2023 meeting of the Lyman Planning Board. This meeting will now come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all exhibits that are offered. If the board votes to go into executive session, the reason for the same shall be stated. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being recorded for YouTube. In each instance, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda and will be considering this meeting's items in the following order. After a roll call to determine if we have a quorum, we'll have the Merry Morning notice of decision revision, a review of information regarding the site plan review for Rustic Dreams on Route 111, updates from the CEO, review the minutes from the previous meeting.
oh, I didn't bring them. I'll go get them.
Okay. And on our old business, Harper Residential Subdivision on Old Kennebunk Road and MX 207 public hearing on that business is scheduled for Wednesday, the 20th, right here at 6 p.m. Can we first start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As long as you wait.
Shall we start with a roll call, please?
Kelly Demers, 10 Partridge Way.
Don Hernan, 33 Murphy's Way.
Joe Wagner, 26 Dave Road.
Phil Single, 8 Single Lane.
Kevin Bear, 64 Bugging Pond Road.
And with Mr. Tatu's absence, Chair will entertain a motion to recognize Bill Single as a full voting member in tonight's
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let us begin. First item on the agenda is the revision to notice of decision for Merry Morning. That's the Cousin School and the professional offices, art studios issued there. Again, what was adjusted was the language under findings and conclusions, which now reads, the applicants propose to repurpose the former Cousins Memorial School property into professional offices to include, thank you, individual studios for artists, craftsmen, and makers.
Thank you.
Another revision was done to standard 5. The conclusion there was that based on the information provided to the board, that the applicant meets the standards by the state fire marshal, and no need for any further work in terms of the sprinkler system there. And I believe finally, under the conditions of approval, number 4 was revised to read, in the event that a studio is to be rented for a purpose that does not conform to the activities of a professional office or that of an artist, craftsman, or maker, the applicants will inform the planning board, Lyman electrical inspector, state fire marshal, and the fire chief of the Goodwins Mills Fire Department of this proposed use for review by and approval from each of those government entities. Brett, hope you don't mind, to your knowledge, was this satisfactory for the applicants? And I think this is what was worked out with their council and Radmore Town Council.
I believe, they were aware of what you discussed and what you voted on that evening, so I haven't heard any different.
Okay.
I did have a couple of questions.
Okay.
On standard number 5, is the, and I'm not sure this is about a revision of the original application, is that correct? So is that why the board noted an existing cache of tree stumps? Those have long been gone.
Yep.
But still need to be in there because it was in the original application?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless, yeah, I mean, you could take it out, but I don't know that it,
Well, if you.
but it goes back to the,
If you,
yeah.
right, if you're in keeping with the original, you're just making those couple of revisions.
Mhm.
I would just ask that somewhere, I think maybe, maybe it's standard number 1. If there was some way we could tuck in some language that it's limited to those uses that are allowed in that district.
Except we got that, but not limited to.
Well,
Well, it's
That's not in your land use chart.
let's see, wait a second here. Hmm.
Well, isn't that kind of understood that nothing above and beyond what is permitted in that zone would be permitted? And we discussed that some length about, producing consumables, and that's out, not permitted, right?
Well,
It's not
And I
something.
don't know how much discussing we should have without notifying the property owner, but we did get a copy of the fire marshal permit they recently.
Which you all have a copy of.
Oh, it's in here?
And you notice it talks about a secondary industrial use. Industrial use is not allowed in residential. In any
Oh, I see.
circumstances.
Oh, I see.
So I would like to see somewhere here, any otherwise,
It's the same.
Don't you get that in the first sentence, though? So will meet the definition of the use, the zoning district requirements, and any other requirements set forth in the ordinance.
well, and it says the applicants propose that professional offices are permitted, and they are indeed.
Mm-hmm.
But he's adding 3 uses to professional offices that I feel aren't a permitted use in that district. So how do you, how can we coincide that with this? Or maybe we don't need to. Maybe it will come down to when the certificate of occupancy is written, if that's.
Yeah, because,
I'm struggling, you can tell I'm struggling with it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's one of those businesses that is kind of in limbo. We haven't defined it.
or that.
We don't, if it was in the commercial district, it'd be no problem. Go for it.
In trying to support the ordinance review committee, I've done a lot of research on land use tables in comparable area towns. There's nothing in any land use table that I've been able to find that covers this, so we're not unique in this.
No.
Other than it's here and we need to deal with it the best we can, and possibly the ordinance review committee be made aware of something like this and
Change.
See if they can fix it. Thing is, we've got it now.
Did you, speaking of reviewing, did you review the one in Saco that was done at the old mill? That was quasi similar to what's going on here, but it also had residences attached to it. Because I spoke to Marcel about it. He was like, yeah, they had to rewrite, but that whole artisan studio development turned into residential units.
Because Saco's a whole different,
Yeah.
It's a different
ballgame.
beast.
They got a,
but it's coming. I mean, it's not coming, it's here.
yeah.
Do you think that the word professional offices is open-ended to a degree?
It is.
It would be open-ended if not for the definition. That's what really makes
I
it difficult.
think it's contradictory to itself.
When I was trained, I was always told that the ordinance itself is a narrative. That what I use is a land use table and definitions.
Mhm.
And the definition definitely makes it difficult. And there again, I made a suggestion to the ordinance review committee that they combine professional office. I can't remember, there was 3 that I wanted combined that I thought covered it. I don't know if they've discussed it yet. I didn't make it to the last meeting. I think they had other things on their plate. But I think that would go a little ways towards solving the problem, but we're here now. And-
Right.
And industrial, anything industrial, not only is it not allowed, but it changes the electrical requirement and the fire chief's perspective, and it changes a lot. But I guess,
Well, if at least these 3 listings, Merry Morning LLC Shop, Hayrunner Plants, and Siren Studios, if they're not doing anything industrial, that I think we're okay. And if whatever they were doing would qualify as industrial, and then they get the permit from the state fire marshal, but occupancy would be denied because you're not allowed to do whatever, something industrial in that zone.
and because the state fire marshal doesn't have an eye for our ordinance anyway, so. I guess I'm going to find out tomorrow if there's some way that I can get a copy of the application to the state fire marshal, just to see what was on the application. Sometimes you don't know what the answer means if you don't know the question. I guess I'm okay with the way it is then, if you want to sign it.
It's not perfect, but
So we're trying to work with what we got. I don't know, this would be confining definitions. But again, I think Brenda, that with standard 1, as Bill said, the sentence itself pretty much says it excludes anything that would,
Use in that district.
Right.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
have you gotten any applications yet from the applicant as far as construction permits, or he's waiting on this, I guess? I don't know. We
I
don't-
think he was waiting on the state fire marshal.
Oh,
And because that's kind of what I had told him back along is, I really can't even accept an application until the state fire marshal has done his thing, right? The cart before the horse, as far as I'm concerned.
right, that's probably true.
And one of the things I'm noticing on each of these construction permits, you have occupancy type business and secondary use on each one of the 5 list industrial.
Yeah, that's where.
Well, that's from the,
That's from the
marshal.
state fire marshal, but that's industrial use is not permitted in that zone.
And I
Well-
don't know what it means, primary use and secondary use. Did we ever talk about secondary use? I don't know what that means.
it must be their terminology or
It
something,
may be just their terminology.
I would
That's
think.
why I'd like to see the application.
Right.
Yeah,
Because primary would be the business, secondary, they could put a small little apartment studio in there with a bed and a kitchenette. The principal use would be the business.
FOIA request to the fire marshal's office, they better provide it. It's public information.
I just don't know how to get it. I mean, it may be online somewhere. I can click a button and get it. I don't know, but I'm calling tomorrow to say, is this somehow that
Just call before noon, they have the home noon,
they do?
all the state employees do.
oh,
Really? Are you serious?
They're pretty much open 9 to 12, and you have to actually do it.
yeah, brother.
Catching up with paperwork.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Must be nice.
Any further discussion?
No, I don't know that this is the perfect one, but I think it meets what we, after the discussion with the town attorney and the applicant and their attorney, applicant's attorney, I think it meets those requirements. I think we got the wording in there. I don't know what else. I mean, it'd be nice if we could change the ordinance to make it more specific, but that's.
That's 2-year
we can't
project.
do that very easily. So I think this is as good a resolution as possible. I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but
Same.
Yeah, I
Should-
agree.
One question, Brenda had brought this up too, was the board held meetings on June 15th and July 20th, 2022. Should we add the meetings held this year to that list? because they were here a couple of times this year too, before this gets signed.
Yeah, we didn't have another public hearing, did we?
Nope.
The board held meetings on this application.
They have their permit, right? Do they have their permit to do their construction?
They have a permit for the build.
So they're not being held, is what I'm asking.
No, they're not being held.
Okay.
They're going, they put in a whole new septic system, we good to know that that's been approved. And
Oh, good. So they did all that. That shows good faith, I think.
It seems like they're doing things over there all the time. They're working all the time.
I did.
Well, with respect to Julie's point, could we approve this with the condition of adding the additional dates on the
Yeah, I
official
would.
that will
Yep.
be signed?
I think it's a good idea, so that
More
everything could be
active.
tracked.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? I move.
I knew you did.
That's why you seconded it.
Did we vote Bill in as a member
Yes, we
Yes, we
did.
did.
while I was gone?
Yes, we did.
Sorry.
That's
Uh,
okay, I just want to make note.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So hold off on
So-
signing this until, okay. Now, next on the agenda, Rustic Dreams. I think a letter has been sent requesting a formal application. Chris?
Certified letter was mailed last Friday.
Okay,
I have not received the card back. I have not received the phone call. I don't believe Brenda has either. So that's as far as it's gotten, is the letter went out.
to summarize, this is another situation where there was a conditional use permit. The question of transfer bill, it's transferred to the new owner was in question. There was a significant time period where the business was not being conducted as specified on that conditional use permit. And now with the special events business that they have there, just want to update a notice of decision to acknowledge what they're doing and preface that on a sidewalk. Kevin, you mentioned that the amount of asphalt that's put in there is a concern with respect to drainage and such. And they have done extensive work over there as well. But nonetheless, a notice of decision specifying, acknowledging the town knows that its operation is necessary. So,
And one of the things that was brought up, that when they did the parking lot, because of the ground coverage, I believe that they should have come for, so I had a planning board site walk approval.
Mhm. Mhm.
Make sure the drainage and everything is appropriate.
Julie, what did you say in the letter? Just for them to submit a,
It said due to, I can't remember the exact word, you wrote the letter.
or did I?
Well, I signed it, so.
I don't remember.
It was a good letter. was
It must have
short.
been brilliant. Oh, it's succinct. Yeah, it was succinct.
It was-
Yeah, basically said, hey, yeah, you gotta come forth. You gotta come forth and meet with us or something.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I forgot.
Changes have happened, please fill out the site plan review and come before the board.
And we have, and you just sent that last Friday, right?
It went out Friday.
Okay, so they have to give them a chance to respond, which hopefully they will.
So table this for the next meeting.
Yep, sounds good.
Motion to that effect, please.
I make a motion that we table further discussion on Rustic Dreams till we hear back from the owners.
A second.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
It's pretty bad when you can't remember you wrote the letter.
I can't remember what I had for
It was good.
breakfast.
That was a
well.
long time ago.
Looking at the last meeting minutes
Mhm.
in regards to Rustic Green, it says that they have provided a proposed septic plan. So I have a feeling that something's amiss.
Oh.
I think what that was in response to is one of the, from the former CEO's notes, it noted that the septic system, I think, was written for, I want to say 220 people, and they advertise that they have a capacity of 270. The fire chief said their capacity is 270, so I said the septic isn't adequate. So they did get another design I don't know if they plan on, I know they just brought it in.
Yeah, but I mean, that brings up issues, so.
Mhm.
So we're talking about design, not necessarily as of now, installation.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds like that's,
Next on the agenda, CEO updates.
I know. Stop.
Well, you had your hiss on thing.
That's what I think each of us have in our packet, the letter that came in, email that came in from Mr. Armitrout on Drown Road, concerning their concerns about a steady humming noise emanating from Hisson. And Brenda, you have contacted Hisson about that.
I did. I visited the site today, and when I arrived, the crusher, as you go in, the crusher is over, not quite a ways to the right, but kind of tucked behind everything. And that definitely wasn't the noise that I heard when I was called up there with the neighbors.
So maybe you could ask Nick to keep a log from when he hears it, what time to what time, so that we can see if they're staying within the work hours.
I think they,
But-
from what I understand, everyone that I've talked to said it starts at 7 and it goes all day until closing. And I do believe that they are observing their hours well. And, but when I went over today, I didn't hear the noise, and I said, well, when I was over there Friday, and I stayed in the area for probably 45 minutes in different places,
Mhm.
and it's not a particularly loud or shrill noise, it's just a constant hum. And it does get into your head. And like I said, I'm a mile and a half away.
wow.
And we determined that it was that dust collector. I guess when the DEP says when they're loading a truck, they have to run this dust collector, I guess, which, probably acts like a vacuum cleaner and pulls in all the residual dust that's going on. He did turn that on for me. That was the sound.
Mhm.
And that building is right at the entrance.
Okay.
So, but I don't know what's changed. I mean,
Season.
Well, leaves are off the trees.
These are off the trees. I mean, I can hear
Yeah.
noise sometimes on 111, and I'm over here.
and
But didn't he say that usually the dust collector runs for just a couple minutes at a
well, he
time?
said they about 5 minutes while you're, so I said, well, is it possible that, your guys are just leaving it on rather than off on, off on? He said they load 12 trucks a day. Well, gee, that's only a truck and a half an hour.
Mhm.
That's,
Something's
and so
wrong.
he said he will make them more cognizant to only use it as necessary and see if that makes a difference. Because all the time I was there, it was running on Friday. The thing is, our ordinance says 60 decibels at the property line. I'm not sure that's 60 decibels. I mean, I don't know, I don't have a decibel reader. I was going to download it over on my phone, those aren't official, but
Yeah.
they give us an idea.
Mhm.
I don't know, some of the neighbors have been saying, sound study. I don't know that you do I don't know.
Is this sound something new?
The neighborhood
This
seems to
particular
think it is.
Okay.
And the property owner says nothing has changed, and it didn't look like anything has changed.
I'm thinking it's just the fall, the leaves coming down. I mean, you hear stuff through the woods a lot further than you do with full leaf coverage.
Oh, maybe now that the property owner is aware of it, and he does want to be a good neighbor, he really does.
He seemed that way.
He was very attentive. The minute I called him, he said, when can you come out? And so maybe if they are aware of it now and they just use it as needed, maybe that'll make a difference. If it's not 8 hours a day, maybe it won't be so annoying. So
Is that, can I look
let's
at your,
see
your
how that
ordinance,
goes. I don't
please,
know.
up for that?
Unless you got a better idea.
I think it's under 10.
Well, along with Mr.
I think he
Armstrong, maybe
quotes
area, if they can kind of keep
5.2.
record.
Oh, that's
And,
main gov.
Maybe we could pay a visit at random times during the day. to see if we detect it as well.
I'm wondering if anybody's out that way, why not just drive down and see what we hear?
Mhm.
So you can be familiar with the sound, and
Yeah.
maybe now going forward, it won't be a problem. And I do know that, I think, the name's been mentioned here a few times, Mr. Armentrout, he has talked to the property owner, so he didn't bypass him and just come to me, so they have been working together.
That's good to know.
So they're keeping the lines of communication open.
That's the
That's
key,
That's good.
Well, he's in what, general purpose zone?
yes.
Okay, well, the only place that's covered is on page 42, under definitions. I don't know why it's in definitions, but not general townwide regulations. And it gives a little table there for if he's in general purpose, supposed to be 65. What is that? Yeah, this is 65, and it has 65 to 75. What does that mean?
75 at night, I believe, 65 during the day, maybe. Oh, the other way around.
Yeah, this table,
The other way
damn,
around.
this table.
Gonna say what is noted on here is 60 during the day, 55 at night. Further, all existing, all encompassing ambient noise levels at or below 45 decibels during the day or 35 decibels at night, then the area would be considered a quiet zone and allowable protected levels limited to 55 decibels during
Well,
the day, 45.
I don't know, maybe that's a range. The table isn't very definitive, unfortunately, because it says,
It's decibels.
it gives, it doesn't even say, it says, doesn't say decibels. Well, it says it's later, but it says 65 and then has 75. So I guess that's supposed to be a range. I don't know, for general purpose, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then 55 to 58 from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So, but it's not very definitive, unfortunately. I think that's the only place that we actually have a number.
Mhm.
You have to keep in mind as well that there are different kinds of noise.
Yeah.
There's noise, that decimal reading would be more so for the crusher. For the hum that people are talking about, that's more of a low frequency.
We have lower
issue.
residents.
Yes, it's come up many times with wind turbines. If you live near a
Oh,
wind
yeah.
turbine,
Yeah.
you get that constant whoosh. Yeah, whoomp. Yeah. and
Yeah, we're
that
pretty good at
actually
that.
cause, there's been studies done that can cause other problems. And I know some of the neighbors are worried about that effect on the animals and the farms and stuff. And, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at or maintained or.
I've read as well, locations where they have a lot of computer equipment in operation, I guess servers.
Yep,
Got
They hum.
a low frequency hum as well.
Yep. the cooling fans.
And you don't have any decibel meters, do you? Plus, do you have to be certified by somebody to
No.
take those readings or not?
If it's something that's going to go to court, they will require
Mm.
an expert, someone that's certified. But I think just for our, decision making, I don't think we need to go to that level.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I had read somewhere that a lawnmower is 60 decibels. Does that sound correct? I don't know.
It depends, yeah.
Yeah.
Not with my headphones on.
Well, he did say
Cancellation.
it's a requirement that all of his staff has hearing tests every year. It's
probably a good idea.
Never been a problem. So,
Yeah,
Well, could we revisit this when we get back together in 2 weeks? I think.
did you want to notify the property owner that you're going to discuss it? Or don't you want to go to that level yet?
Well, I think there's a complaint. This was, on his song, they came for an expansion, didn't they?
Mhm.
Isn't that what they came for?
That they did.
But they didn't come for any change in use, did they?
no, they're just opening up more land.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess my thought would be that if the owner cannot satisfy the neighbors, then I don't know. Is this email considered a formal complaint? If it is,
I was gonna say, it's written up and addressed to the code enforcement officer, so
yeah, because what
That's
I'm
official
what I'm trying to say is that the planning board doesn't have any enforcement authority on anything. I mean, I'm not saying we couldn't ask them to come back, but you know, planning board's supposed to look at this application and say, okay, blah, 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 blah. We put in restrictions on hours of operation. And the noise ordinance, well, as good as it is, it's in the zoning ordinance, what the levels are. So, I don't know what, I mean, you know, do we have any authority to have them, my point is, do we have the authority to ask them to come back here?
I feel like in the 16 standards, there was definitely an area that talks about adverse effects on the neighborhood. I think it mentions noise. So I think if.
Under that criteria?
I think that gives you an opening to review at least, because you definitely say if any of the 16 standards at any point aren't met, it's cause to review. I feel like you have the authority for any site plan review, I believe, at any point because of the 16 standards.
So, Mike,
What if you spoke with the people at Hisson and said, you know, can you talk to these people and see if you can come up with a way to resolve it? And, you know, we'll give you 30 days and then we'll see where we're at. And I would call Nick and say, hey, they should contact you. You let us know how that goes. And that way we're in the loop, we're proactive, we're really not taking any enforcement, which we do.
And I think it's a good idea to hold off, you know, things escalate very quickly sometimes.
Yeah, we don't want
And the fact that, you know, he asked me to come right over, and the fact that he said, hey, Jeff, you make sure they are using it on 5 minutes per truck, that's a total of an hour all day.
Mhm.
He said 12 trucks. So if, you know, they stick to that and just see if it makes a difference. I talked to him at 2:00 this afternoon, so going forward, if I check with the neighbors, like, by the middle of next week and say, have you noticed a difference? If they say no, then maybe. I do feel Mr. Armentrout and the property owner are converse quite often, but we seem to think, so. He is being open, he really is, and, you know, he wants to be a good neighbor,
Yeah.
he does. But he needs his operation too. so.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's other ways to mitigate that with some insulation or baffling for the exhaust on that machine. I don't know. It's-
Well, the other thing is, it may be an annoying hum, but is it in violation of the decibels, the hours of operation, or anything such as that? And
Yeah.
I mean, we may not like that. Oh my God, I hear the fire engines when they leave the fire station. Those are above the decibel levels. They're intended to be above the decibel level. Is it to the point where it is a violation of the zoning?
where you go to, it may not violate the decibel levels, but the standard in terms of noise level and enjoyment of one's property, it can impact on that.
And if
So-
there are medical studies.
You know,
Oh, yeah, drive you
That's
insane.
definitely an adverse effect, so.
Mhm.
And when did it start up? Is it the seasonal with the dropping of the leaves?
Some people have mentioned there's been additional logging in the area that may have taken away some of the buffer. Even though there's a lot of woods around that factory, if a lot of trees have come down, that
could do
can
it too.
reduce the amount of buffer.
Well, the trees were down when we did our site walk.
Not those trees, other properties surrounding it.
Oh, they've done some
Lots that
logging,
Have been logged.
so that
Will
would,
that be nothing under the control of his on?
well,
Not
noise
necessarily.
emanating from.
I think probably the best thing is to table it until the next meeting, and then meantime, maybe Brenda can contact the to the owner and the persons who are making the complaints and see if this is continued or not. And if it has, then we could discuss it at the next meeting. But we, you know, we don't really have enforcement authority except that he's supposed to, you know, meet the requirements. And the only question I was that we don't have a funding. I mean, normally what we do is we require the applicant to pay for, you know, for example, like electromagnetic studies around cell towers. In the past, we have required, I believe, the applicant to do a study and come back with a report, blah, 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 blah. Which has a bunch of curves you can't read, but anyway, besides all that, we don't have any money to pay for it, my point. We don't have a fund that says, hey, and you don't have a meter. I mean, a meter probably costs thousands of dollars, and if you're not certified, that's a problem, blah, blah, blah.
But
So,
the applicant could be asked to provide that kind of information.
could be.
Or the complainant could be required to show proof of violation.
Well, let me go into that, so.
It's one of those, where does
Well,
the funds or
As
the
you say, the
data
in the
come
opening
from?
statement, the burden's on the applicant to show that they're complying. So I think
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah, I think
is,
you're right. I think I'm on that.
I like the encouragement for conversation between the neighbors and
Yeah.
and business. And with the understanding, we'll get an update on this next time we meet. And if there isn't any resolution, then we call the HISOC representatives in to see what we can do about rectifying the matter. Good on that? Do a motion on that?
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And so we'll put that on the CEO update agenda next time around. All right, next on the agenda, review of the minutes. From the,
The 15th?
do
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from November 15th.
we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. And somewhere in here, we've got the copy to sign?
I gave you 2 copies on the desk right in front of you, probably.
Ah.
One for you, one for Simon.
Okay, very good. All right. Get that going here. Before we hit old business, just a couple things that are also in our packet. The outstanding notice of decision checklist that Don put together for us, that we can use on each and every applicant that comes our way in the future. 17 points and organized in chronological fashion.
Semi-chronological.
Yeah. That might be better. I mean, maybe someone can organize that better. It's not. I mean,
I figure the next time that we start one at the beginning.
go through it and see how it
go through
works.
and we can always adjust how
Mhm.
they are. I was trying to,
Sounds good.
The other thing that I had a brilliant thought, which so far I'm still remembering it. And I might try to add something to that a little bit, but when we do these site plan reviews, if you go to, I was looking, I don't know why was I looking at that? I don't know.
You're a sick
Nothing
man.
else to do, probably. Looking at mineral extraction.
Mhm.
And it's got a whole list of stuff. And what's another example? Shoreland has one, has a section in there. And sometimes we get confused when we go through this, not confused, but we go through the 16 standards, but there may be additional requirements in other parts of the ordinance.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just not obvious, only because under the site plan review part of the ordinance, it doesn't point you, it expects you to know the whole ordinance, which you might not know because we don't use it every day. So maybe I was thinking maybe if I can get my thoughts together to add something to that, that gives a more of a flow chart kind of a thing, saying, like, I was thinking, like if it's a mineral extraction, go here and add this, or if
Right.
it's shoreland, just so that we don't inadvertently miss things, because then you get into a problem. Well, you know, you didn't follow the ordinance, and then it allows you, gives an opening for somebody to challenge it. And, you know, I think, I mean, I don't mind doing it once, but I hate to do it twice or 3 times or sometimes more if you get a challenge. But anyway, that's just another thought. But anyway, if there's a better way to organize it, I'd say try it the next time and see if it works. If it works, fine, or add something to it.
Now,
So,
it's
just a
in,
tool.
it's in draft right now. Should we tentatively adopt this as a tool? By virtue of a motion, or just keep it as a an informal
Operating
checklist for
procedure. Yeah. I don't think we need to make a motion. It's just
I just use
operating
it,
system.
use it and see if it works. And then
Yeah.
maybe, I think it'd be up to Julie to say, okay, you know, I want to change this or do something.
That sounds good.
I just left it as a draft so that you guys could look at
Yep.
it, let me know if something wasn't flowing properly, and I can move it, and
Mhm.
then we can make up a permanent.
Or, you know,
Yes.
maybe it possibly edit, I mean, another thought, if it was good enough, if it turns out to be good enough to use all the time, add it to the bylaws, because there's no other place that we have that's really official except the ordinance, and this shouldn't be
No, this is
part of
just
the
operating
ordinance.
procedure.
So,
All right.
anyhow, that's a thought, just a thought.
Sounds good. Also in the packet, I think we've got just a personal copy of the approved bylaws.
Was there a problem with those?
Somebody had
No.
asked for them last time.
I think I did. I think I might have. I don't know why. Probably just a moment
You
or two.
wanted to sign copy.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
All good there.
It's just me.
Yeah, especially with your table of sanguinity, sanguine,
I don't know, whatever it is,
the sangria,
yeah.
table of sangria.
So that leads to us with old business. Any update on the Harper residential subdivision on Old Kennebuck Road? Still
You haven't heard anything from them since.
okay. And as for MX 207 and public hearing next time we meet on the 20th.
Yep.
Just a statement of their.
Can I just point out something? If the sequencing on that.
Yeah.
We might want to consider at the next meeting is, we got a public hearing, but really we're supposed to do the public hearing and then go through the 16 standards.
Mhm.
So I mean, we sort of got that cart before the horse here because, you know, this is stretched out so long. We had an existing one and then we want, you know, a lot of things came up, blah, blah, blah. So now we're trying to really go backfit the process to make it work.
Mhm.
So we may have to go through this again possibly. I would suggest see what comes out of the public hearing. See whether anybody shows up. I mean, I hope some people do if they're interested.
Mhm.
And see where we are. I just point that out now while I'm thinking about it, because I probably forget it.
But,
I
Cool.
did send a message to the planning board admin, the me in Waterboro,
right.
Oh,
to invite them if they wished, because they're kind of on the border of
Right.
Waterboro. I haven't heard back from her. I know they have a public hearing tonight on, I don't know what, but I did invite them to come to our meeting that night, but I think their meeting's on the same nights as ours.
could be a problem for them.
But they were invited just in case they wanted to
Thank you.
come.
Good neighbors.
Good neighbors.
Again, here's another situation where there was a conditional use permit from way back, lapsed. And I don't think we have any kind of tickler file or any kind of alert when these do expire.
Yeah,
And the transfer from that to the notice of, you know, the site plan review process. We may find this again in the future. but
Maybe
there's
more.
A bit of a gap there, yeah. So we're kind of playing catch up and.
you have to go back through
situations.
almost every, oh God, every one,
Mhm.
but to see if there's a expiration. I mean, I know it's usually,
How many there are?
well, probably have to go, I was going to say go through the map and lot files, but that'd be hard to do. It'd take forever.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem.
But I think going forward, and we can only go forward.
Right.
That's all we can do. I think the quarterly reports will help a lot.
Yeah.
And I hope that those are held somewhere where they can be a reference, they can be a good history.
Yeah.
No, it's a public document. It's got to be stored and saved.
I don't know. But because there is a date on that, if something did come up and you think, whatever happened to that, you
Yeah.
know the way to look in the minutes. It's
Quickly.
not guesswork. I think it's gonna be invaluable, but that's going forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've noticed that our information goes back several years, from the minutes to the meetings to the notes and everything like that. So we're trying to do our best.
Well,
It seems like the previous, I may be speaking out of turn, but it seems like the previous town clerk actually requested copies of the minutes, and I think that she had those in a binder somewhere.
they're,
Yes, so in the vault.
they're probably in the vault.
That's not happening anymore, I don't
Oh.
think. So, which I think is kind of a shame.
She put them in a book in the vault and,
Well, they're probably still there.
but.
The current ones aren't, is
the
what I think
current
is.
ones aren't going
Oh.
in there.
Okay.
And I don't know where the exact book is, or if there's a new book each year, or I don't know. I have asked about it. I probably should ask again. But I am keeping them
Good. Along with everything else.
along with everything else. I have my own notebook of our minutes and site walk
Okay.
notes and everything by year. I'm keeping everything
Mhm.
nice and organized.
I've got a lot of stuff somewhere. The only question.
It's all up here, right?
No, it's not. It's leaking. I've got it's leaking out. Can't keep track.
Is there anything else that we have? Because I think that completes the formal agenda.
Yeah, so what else
And
is?
a couple of quick things.
Sure.
First being, there's a proposal on the table for that, is it Eagle Point? The software, the assessor, CEO, that the select board is looking at. My 2 cents is, it's worth every penny. I have been working almost 30 years with aerial photography, mapping, stuff in general. And it's not just the aerial photography part, the software behind it. It's a proprietary GIS system, geographic information, everything's tied together. Tasks that would usually take up to many hours, be done in seconds. It can benefit the assessor's office, the CEO office, planning board. It will enhance our site walks, site plan reviews. We can actually get real maps for each application.
I listened to that presentation too at the meeting, and only question, they didn't say how much it costs, number one, which is maybe a limiting thing. I
If
don't
you have
know.
to ask, we can't afford it.
But the other thing is, I raised a question, but it's not, I mean, we can do it, but I'll just mention it though. It seems like, where's York County here? Here we are, Lyman, we're looking at hiring these guys, and we're a small town, we have unlimited resources. It seems like something that a county could benefit from, but I don't know, it's just a shame we all go and we do things on our own little
The,
bailiwicks.
as for the price tag, mine is saying somewhere in the 12 to 13 grand per year range,
Oh,
3-year
Contract.
commitment.
Yeah.
And I think that what was looking, how it was left at the select board meeting was that they would, put together a RFP, put out the bid. Now, that's Eagle View. Do they have competitors out there who also do this?
Mm-hmm.
There are others.
Okay, all right.
Now, from my perspective, I'm looking at that, and about the only thing that he mentioned that I already don't have access to currently is oblique angles. Aerial photographs, I had shared with Brenda several websites that I used. Most of them are sponsored by the state of Maine, where I've got some topographical, I can get mining maps up.
are they free?
They're free. They're
Oh.
maine.gov. It looks like what they're selling is the old Bing maps, which was deleted when Google started to explode, where I could zoom in and go, oh, this is top view, hit oblique, and it comes down to a 45-degree angle on a circle.
Huh.
And that's about, now for the measuring that he's mentioning about, there are many free other apps out there that are pretty much the same thing. I'm doing a house tomorrow up in Southport that while I was talking to the homeowner, I'm like, okay, your first floor is 2,862 square feet plus or minus. And he goes, how do you know? I just measured it.
Huh.
I don't know if this company has timestamps that they can go back in time like other programs can. What overlays are they allowing? Are they providing? Are they going to do, Lyman were pretty simple, but our zoning? Are they going to do shoreland? Do they have the capability to distinguish between public roads, private roads, state roads? I'm seeing a large bill for oblique photographs, aerial views. That's my opinion.
Brenda?
The good news is, from my point of view, being a little selfish,
By all means.
is I have found a couple of maps because, and I did tell the selectmen, was it Monday? I lost it. That currently I use 3 different maps to get the
Oh.
information that I need, because Acton doesn't, Lyman, I'm sorry, I worked in Acton.
Yeah.
Lyman doesn't have a dedicated mapping system. So what this software does do is, it will bring in our parcel overlay. So I can actually see the parcels, which you can't see in most every other map.
I gave you one that does that, or showed you one that does that.
Yeah, okay, so what it is when you click on a lot, the information's gonna come up, the map and lot number, who owns it, all those demographics that we use, we don't have to go looking for it, it's right there.
So it's a time saver.
It is, and then the problem is we will be able to go back in time over time. I mean, we're
Yes.
starting out with 0
Right.
history. So, and their claim, of course, is that they fly low and they fly slow, so they're crisper. You know, the good news is that if a first responder call comes in, they can immediately find out where's the front door, where's the garage, where's the back door, where's the driveway. They can see that on the way there. They don't have to get there and find that. And there are some, I'm finding them everyday horror stories in town where people don't realize that things are going on in their property that first responders need to know. And I tell them all the time. I did a house yesterday that says it's on Goodwin's Mills Road. It is not. I drove by it twice. There's another street, it's down that street. But they think because part of their land is, and I said, no, it's where your driveway is. The
Right.
first responders want to know where your driveway is. So, you know, there's good things like that, but it also, over time, can be queried. Like after the first year, I can actually go in and tell it to tell me anything that's changed 50% over the last year. So a garage will show up. You know, was that permitted? Or, you know,
Now,
the change in the outline of the house. It will tell me that. It will show that the outline last year was red and this year it's green or whatever. So I can see if there's any kind of expansion. I really don't, using it as a gotcha type program isn't the intention of it. It is there, and you know, that's important as well. It's gonna save a ton of time, for especially the assessor and myself. But I think it's just so valuable, and we did look at a couple, we looked at another one, I think it was called Near Me. It wasn't half the program this wasn't, it was about the same price. So, I get excited about it.
What I'm hearing is maybe Kelly, that we could provide the town manager with some perspectives for the writing of the RFP on this.
and from my professional perspective, one of the things I professionally won't do is I won't work in this town. One of the biggest reasons is I can't get decent, accurate tax information online. What they have is, I believe, it's Harris. In my profession, is a joke.
I fight with it every day.
My tax card, there's no picture of my house.
Right,
My
there's no,
neighbor, There's a picture of the foundation hole.
right. There may be year built, but it's,
Wow.
and they have Trio, which I'm not a fan of Trio. I'd rather see Vision or Aegis or whatever, but they're spending that much money on a limited use program, from what I understand, for limited access by the population who could use it.
The Eagle View?
Yeah.
Eagle Eye, whatever. Oh, no, that would be online for everybody.
You know, and I see more use from other existing programs that are out there, such as Access, such as, I can't even think of all the GIS systems I use on a regular basis, where I can go in and click on a sidebar and go, I want to see, on the legend, I want to see this, I want to see the lot lines, I want to see contour levels, I want to see all this stuff. And it's updated on an annual basis. So, I mean, even my little old hometown of Stark, New Hampshire has an active GIS system. And I think their population is about 340.
Going back to one question that you posed during the presentation, John, was where's the county on this? And I mentioned to the select board on Monday, it kind of struck me as odd that Mr. Gannon, I think he would said that the county doesn't have procurement authority. Kind of they did. So I just suggested that maybe contacting the county exec, Greg Zinser, would be worthwhile. Because indeed, if this is something worthwhile for the entire area.
Yeah,
then,
like York County Emergency Management, that'd be a huge thing for them.
there you go.
They could fly the whole county and have up-to-date photography for emergency situations.
It'd be, yeah, I'm also thinking about and suggesting some cost sharing in the process.
Yeah.
So they got 40 million in ARPA funds that are putting towards that. new
I was gonna say,
treatment center and,
what is it? Southern Maine Regional Planning Committee has a host of maps out there, depending on how much the town subscribes to them. You know, you can, where's the cemeteries located? Which land's in conservation, which land's in critical need.
Okay,
Fortunately, with cemeteries, we don't get a lot of complaints.
no.
Why?
Are you sure?
Can I just
For
mention,
now,
can I mention just one other thing? I think it was the Monday after Thanksgiving, I was just one of many participants at the fire station. And what they were doing was, what the chief had organized and the assistant chief was an evaluation of, I don't know, I think 5 or 6 candidates for a new position they're putting in. And it's going to be a liaison position with the towns and probably with planning boards and code enforcement to maybe help on ordinances, but also inspections. And they brought up some interesting subjects like, and I can't remember the name, but there's 2 roads in town that are, one is east and one is west, and they're not tied together. So if,
Maddox Farm.
Was-
Maddox
yeah.
Farm.
yeah, so I mean, and I didn't realize that. I
They're
mean,
nowhere near each other.
yeah, and so, and they were pointing out, so bottom line is they want to do more outreach and organization. This is a part-time, I guess the individual will be paid while he's doing this work. Let's see, I didn't see any sheets, so it was a he, probably be a he, and I don't know who got picked out of the candidates, but each section, I was in one group with actually the head of the planning board from Dayton and a fire chief from Berwick, I think. And we were talking about a certain area. So, so the evaluation, then they want to choose one person, I guess, and hire them for this position. But it could be someone that would be more working with the planning board and other people to help the fire department respond better. And I guess some towns actually have a standard placard or sign that you put on your mailbox that is reflective, but it's in a standard format, and it shows your number. Because as they were pointing out on some of these, especially some of these camp roads, you don't know who the heck lives there. And the numbers are not legible, or they're, they may be, so it's a mess.
Yep.
And so there's some issues. So anyhow, but there's a move on there to try to do a little more liaison. And I was impressed by just the way they were conducting this review of candidates, but hopefully this will generate something that will help us all out. But it's not tomorrow. It's coming though, assuming they hire the person. Anyway, 2 cents.
Kevin, you have a couple of things?
Oh, just one other quick thing.
Sorry.
Looking for opinions. I discovered recently on a recent applicant that had basically 24 outstanding tax liens of the town since 2014.
What?
And
24 tax liens in our
Yes.
town?
yes, with our town tax collector. All those liens have to be recorded at the registry of deeds, so it costs the town money. I don't know if there's a way we can, if we even have a legal basis to include in the standard condition for notice of decision that they be in good standing with the town. I don't think owing that many tax liens is in good standing with the town. A couple of which were still active as of last August for over $18,000.
I gotta see, I know what you're talking about. I see it all
I
the time.
won't say who. but-
Some owners use that as a standard operators, they figured that the longer the money is in their bank and they don't pay the taxes, the cost of the lien, which is typically about $25 plus the interest, is less than what they're gonna gain on the interest with the money in the bank. You'll see yearly municipal tax liens. I know exactly what you're talking about. I see it all the time.
I don't know if we have any kind of.
I don't think we
basis.
have any authority because until the property is seized as a result of the lien, they're still the owner of record.
It's frustrating for the taxpayers.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It costs us
Well,
money.
Could we add something to the checklist? Is the applicant in good standing in terms of taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be worthwhile.
That might be a good legal question.
Yeah, I think you have to go to the lawyer. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's in our
if it's-
purview.
If it's not in the ordinance, I don't know if you can just say, hey, I mean, it sounds like, I don't disagree with the idea, the concept, but if it's not a specific item and we're imposing it, that could be a little flaky.
Could that
I don't know.
issue be referred to the town manager for referral to the
To the lawyer. Maybe.
town council?
Yeah,
Really interesting.
because it interferes with their bundle of rights as a property owner.
Do we need a motion to do so?
I'll make a motion to,
But what we want to do we want to authorize someone to write up the note that would go from the planning board to the town manager?
Can we think of someone who might be
Yeah.
so skilled?
No, I mean, I think, my suggestion would be that, I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I think your idea is good too. It should go to the town manager and then maybe there's something we don't know about it, but that's going on. But maybe we could write it up for the chair to sign at the next meeting or something and, or maybe Kevin could, if he wants
So
to.
why not pose the question saying to the town manager, is this something that we have a legal right to do? And then leave it to the town manager. to
Exactly.
decide whether to go to the legal counsel.
Does the
That'd be a
town,
good idea.
Encouragement to do so.
does the town through the planning board have the legal right to impose sanctions on a property owner who wishes to do something to their property because they have a municipal lien?
See, it's not imposing a sanction.
No.
What you're doing is not giving them a permit
for suspending.
because
it.
But would that also be applicable in the case of, say, what happens if somebody has a lien and they come up, they want to, well, something that doesn't come before the planning board. They want to get a construction permit, a building permit to add a garage or something. Do you care if they have liens or not? I mean, do you have any requirements to check?
Okay, Kevin, let's take what, I understand and completely agree with your thought process. Let's take this, I wouldn't say to the extreme, but a lien is just saying, I have a vested interest in this property. So does a mortgage. So are we going to ask if people have mortgages on their property? Because that is a vested interest of a much higher caliber than a municipal lien.
I think we're getting off topic myself. I think I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to write something to go to the town manager
it's
and
just,
ask her to take a look at it and then we
Yeah,
can see
come
where
up
that
with,
goes.
like,
'Cause
Wordage,
Mhm.
verbiage, or like, are they in good, is the applicant in good standing with the town? Just something simple.
Mhm.
Because I personally don't consider that being in good standing or in good faith to the town. I mean, our taxes is the town's
Oh, yeah.
lifeblood.
So did, I hear you agree to write up something, is that or not?
I heard that.
I can give it a shot.
All those in favor?
I,
Anything else for tonight's meeting?
Anything else coming up?
No, next time we get together is on the 20th.
Yeah. I don't know, do we?
That's the public hearing.
Public
for
hearing.
MX207.
mhm.
We want to do any other, I'm just asking. So it takes a little preparation, not much, but do you want to do any sort of get together afterwards or not?
Yeah, we can use your shrimp cocktails.
I mean, I'll make it, we've had in the past, we've had a little, it's not a party, there's no alcohol
No, there's
or anything like
apple
that.
cider
But
and
if
cookies.
you want to have, some people would bring things, I'll bring a shrimp cocktail or something like that, as I do every year.
Yes, let's do it.
And but it takes a little, and Cecile usually brings something, I don't know.
Yeah.
whatever. So I guess-
bring the lobster rolls?
So you volunteered?
So we
Who
could do that,
suggested it?
if we want to, then we could do that.
Yeah, it's
It's not,
nice, quiet.
Yeah.
Actually, I think three of us are the only ones who've experienced it in the past.
Yeah.
Because last couple of years we didn't because of COVID.
Last year, we didn't even have a meeting.
we just canceled the meeting
Yeah.
because there was nothing
There was nothing
pending,
going on.
nothing pending at that time.
So just a holiday get together,
I like that.
10, 15
Good
minutes,
idea.
20 minutes.
Oh, I wanted to mention, I took it, when I was going to the transfer station, I went by Brock Road. Nothing on that subdivision.
Oh, yeah, they cleared where the entrance is going. They cleared a lot of the brush out of there and the trees.
Oh, the brush.
Yeah.
There was a gate there, wasn't there?
No.
Maybe I went down there,
There's
maybe
a
I,
gate further down.
Further
The
down.
gate
For a long
further
time
down,
was
that's still there.
yeah.
But yeah, they were working on that.
Okay.
I just wondered,
For
I
a
thought
couple of days. they
I
were-
thought I would see more action there on Brock Road.
Well, price of materials was sky high, so
Yeah.
now it's starting to come down and the market's changing.
Hidden Spa has a sign now and
Yeah.
everything, so they're moving along.
Yep.
So that's
But I
good.
have
No
to
longer
say something about that.
Oh, the front steps are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard some good news today.
Like-
The feds are planning on, in 2024, having 8 separate interest rate drops.
Hmm.
So that's good for the,
Wait a minute now. 8 separate, how can they plan 8 separate interest rates?
quarter of a point, 2 months later, quarter of a point, 2 months later, quarter of a point.
Wait a minute, what's happening in 24?
You don't think, huh?
No.
I'm just wondering, I make no political comments.
The Fed operates independently of.
Yes, that's right, we know that, that's
Something
possible.
to do with school loans?
Anyway,
My mortgage identifies as a student loan. Hey, I'm learning all the time about homeownership, It says educational.
I'm not gonna comment.
It identifies them. And because
Yeah.
it identifies, you got to accept it.
Do we have any motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for tuning in, folks.
It was time to close it. We were starting to get a little slap happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Are you,
It's not bad, an hour and 15.
are you going to the one tomorrow night or not? Or you don't go to those anymore?